Hello there, Alex Sturgeon, HobbyTown HobbyPlex, and it's time for another Alex Fixes. This time it is an Arrma Vorteks with a ring and pinion gear that we assume is the culprit. So we're going to get in there and tear some stuff apart and yeah, get this fixed for our customers so they can have fun. You should see this truck. It's pretty obvious why it has a bad ring and pinion gear. Let's go check it out. All right, here's our Vorteks, and I want to show you guys what it's doing so you can hear it. Right there. That's how we know it's got a bad ring and pinion gear. So what we're going to have to do is, to make it easy to access, we'll take the battery out, we'll take the drive shaft out like we were taking out the transmitter, or the motor mount, which is what we have to do anyways because it's connected to the gearbox. Then once we get that off of there, then we can get to this and we can open it up, get in there and switch everything out. So let's get started. All right, so while I was getting ready to attack this thing, I noticed he's also got a broken rear A-arm. So we're going to fix that. We may or may not fix this bent turnbuckle. It's not going to hurt anything, but that piece right there is definitely busted, and we'll fix that for him too. So, all right, moving on. All right, so just for ease, we're going to take the wheels off. And then I'm going to take the just off. Okay, now we do. Here we go. Screws. This should pop up and get out of the way. There it is. Okay, and see. Let's go ahead and underneath this one. Oh, no. Okay, there's your shock tower gear case. Oh yeah, look at that. Woo, we're gonna clean that out too. So yeah, you can see this has definitely gotten all sorts of crunchy. All that right there, we're gonna have to clean all that out. And definitely the, see if I can, definitely the pinion gear is for sure shredded. We have to replace this gear as well, just for good measure. Okay. All right. So the Arrma cars not only have like so their traditional gearbox is actually part of the chassis itself, and then you have the shock tower, and all that's molded into a thing that covers this thing right here. Can't remember what it's called now, but either way, it doesn't matter. The drive shafts, you got to take these off first. So if you've ever owned like a Traxxas car, they have like a screw pin on these. This hole here goes all the way through, and they're actually screwed in to the little metal outdrives. So you're going to need a long 2mm, and it goes all the way in like so. Got to find it. There you go, like that. Okay. And then it helps to have, I like to use shock shaft pliers because they're not like you won't tear up your like U-joints, right? Okay, so then we're just going to unscrew that side. There you go. See? Isn't that cool? So that screw's going to stay in there. Okay, now we need to do the other side. Ooh, oh, there we go. Okay, man, I thought it was stripped for a second. I would use the drill, but I don't have my bit's not long enough to reach in here and grab that, so oh well. Okay, there you go. There's the other side. Okay, so now we can there's one side. You can see all that crap. We're going to brush all that out of there. And same thing with that side. And then there's all your pieces of plastic that have been totally chewed up, like hardcore chewed up. And we're going to replace this too, because if you actually look, let's go ahead and open up our new part. So the diff case and the ring gear, they call it a main gear, but whatever, is 310872. And I want you to look at why we're replacing this gear too. You can actually see that there has been some of that plastic taken off of there. So, see that right there. Okay, so we're gonna have to, you know, oil up the diff gears and all that stuff too. And then here's your pinion, and that thing's toast, right? So, okay, let's go ahead and just take our brush, and we'll just get rid of all that plastic. You don't want to leave any of this behind, because if you do, it can actually get into the new gears and cause it to bind and just do all sorts of bad stuff. So if you got an air compressor handy, that's a good way to do that. We're probably going to need a rag. Really wipe some of that away. There we go. So that looks pretty good. Get this side. It's probably a combination of grease too, you know, because you do put a tiny little bit of grease on. We're not going to use a lot, but a little bit. That looks good too. Okay, we need our bearings off here, and sometimes that can be a real pain in the butt. So what? Why don't we take this apart first? We're going to reuse those screws and the diff gears inside of here, and we'll we're going to have to get a new gasket as well, and the pins. Going to have to reuse all the pins. Yeah, honestly, we could probably reuse that side. Only ones that'll know are me and everybody watching this video. Get rid of that. Get rid of that one. Yeah, look at that. Okay. We might just get new bearings if the bearings are like basically impossible to take off. I think we're just going to go ahead and get new ones. But I might be able to pop these off. My hands are going to get really greasy. Gotta be kind of careful, because you don't want to, if you're going to try to reuse them, you don't want to break them. Oof. They're on there pretty good. Might just get new ones. We'll go check that part number real quick and be right back. All right, the 12 by 18 bearings, we didn't have the Arrma ones, so I grabbed Traxxas. They're cheap. 5120 is the part number. And then I wanted to show you guys this. If you don't want to have to go through all this, if you ever blow a ring and pinion gear, there's actually two ways that you can replace this. There's an actual metal upgrade that Arrma makes for this car, but also there's a pre-built one at 60 bucks. And it wasn't part of the arrangement for fixing this car, which is why I didn't grab this one. But it does already have everything built, so you don't have to worry about putting oil in it or anything like that. But I wanted to show you guys that, but for the purpose of this video, we're going to rebuild this diff. Okay, the diff gaskets 310875, and we're just gonna use a new one. Thought I could use the old ones, but no, I don't think so. We're just gonna put new stuff in there. And then I was thinking about it, and I actually think I'm gonna have to pull these out real quick and get the order of these correct. So this pin, I'm going to put all the gears in one side. Should make it easier to put the cap on. I don't know if you guys can hear in the background, but they're racing our Tiny Tuesday downstairs right now. It's kind of nice. Get to do this kind of in the peace and quiet upstairs. That goes there. And this goes there. Like that. And then we're going to get this other side ready. So O-ring, push that gear in there. New gasket goes on like a so. And then your diff grease. You can play with fluids and stuff. I grabbed 15K, 15,000, just to make it not too loose, not too like if you have it too thin, then your car will diff out. And what that means is like one side will spin a lot as soon as the like let's say your inside tire has traction, your outside tire doesn't. Well, then the outside tire is going to spin like crazy and cause you to maybe spin out. If you use thicker fluid, then it doesn't happen as quickly, I guess. So it almost acts kind of like a posi in a way. The thicker you go, like we could put like 20 million in here and it would be, this car would have crazy acceleration, like really, really good acceleration. That's probably too much, but that's okay. Get that worked in a little bit. We can probably even suck some of that out of there. Watch this. Kind of worked. Okay, that's really messy. Okay, now we should be able to, gosh darn it, stupid little gasket. Quit moving on me. You're so sticky. Oh my gosh, come on. All right. Let's see, should be able to, it goes like that. It's probably going to overflow a little bit. Now, if you put too much in, it'll actually hydrolock on you, which is bad. We definitely don't want that. But I think we're okay here. So I'm not going to yet. We're just going to do crosshair. Yeah, that's okay. I'm going to access when we're done. And we're going to give it a good hand tighten too, just to make sure. The drill's awesome, but when you don't want to strip screws, it's a good idea to not get your headers ahead of yourself. Okay, that feels really good. We'll grab a rag, wipe away that excess oil, diff grease, diff oil, whatever you want to call it. Okay, so there's one. So that's done. Now we can get the bearings. Put that in the pile. A lot of times what happens, like, especially in instances like this where this was clearly being ran while it was bad, so it'll create a lot of heat, and that plastic will actually melt and kind of like really hold on to these bearings. Okay, little trick to getting bearings in without messing them up, especially if it's going on something that's really, really tight. If you find yourself something that's big like that, and you can just press over it, and then you can like cram down into it. See? Just like that. I'm glad that worked. Because otherwise, I sound like an idiot. So, just like that. Okay? So, that's ready to go. Got our halves here. That will be ready to go back in, but we need to get our ring gear. So to get these out, you can just grab something like a pair of pliers, get in between there, and then just pop it out like that. Okay, so those two are Gandhi. That side's gone. We need to get our new one out. So the input gear is what they call it. I call it a ring and pinion gear, but same thing, I think. These two bearings came out. I have a feeling these are going to be pretty tight on there. Yeah. Let's get our thing back out. Hopefully it goes in all the way. Oof. See if I can find another tool for that, because it's got to go. It's got to go all the way in there. Might be easy to maybe I can do it like that. We'll see if we can use the piece here to our advantage and press in the gear. Okay, so we're going to do that and that, and then that. Okay, so now we can take, haha, success. Look at that. So if you're having trouble getting that bearing in there, just put these together real quick, and then just press it in there. Excellent. Now what we can do is undo this. Get our two sides in there, because I think you should be able to just, oh no, it's got to be, okay. So this has to be kind of right on the edge, it looks like, so you can probably do that with your fingers, because it does have a little lip on it, so you're just gonna have to get in there. Look at that. Perfect. That's what I was wondering about. So on one side it's got this little nub right here, okay, and on the other side it doesn't. So this is the side that the gear actually needs to sit on. See there? So that's a good way for these guys to let you know that, hey, you're putting it on the wrong side. I was thinking about that, and then I thought, well, it's not really going to matter until we put it in there. But alas, it does matter. Now it should clamp down. There it is. Okay. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Just tight, maybe about it. I got it. That's tight. There we go. Okay, now what we need to do is we're going to put a little bit of just white lithium grease right here on the gears. And I'm going to have to go grab it, so I'll be right back. Okay, I have a thing about grease. I don't like to use a lot of it, so you do need to grease this up no matter what, but you only need to use a little bit. Like you'll notice on some ready to runs, if you ever need to do a diff on them and you open them up, they're just packed with grease. And in my opinion, that actually makes it worse. It like any dirt that might get in there, the grease will get thicker, and it'll actually cause it to bind up, and it might actually cause you to have problems down the road. So a little bit of white grease, and we're just gonna do a little bit at a time, and then we're just gonna spin it around. And that right there is more than enough. I probably even put too much by my standards in there, but it will work itself in, and the gear will get a little bit crisper and cleaner as it works, as it gets ran in. So now that we have this part, we can put our drive shafts back on and get them ready to go. Find the screw. There it is. Probably gonna need to grab it now, as it is a new, actually it's not new what we're putting it into, but whatever. Sorry, I'm kind of whispering. All right, there's one side. And grab a hold of it here. There you go. That's pretty much all we really wanted right there. So diff works. You got a little bit of grease on it, and get in front of the camera. There you go. Oh, I got grease all over my hands again. All right, let's get it back in the truck, shall we? Okay, remember when we said that we need to get all that crap out of there? That's because we got to get all that crap out of there. So that's all like plastic remnants and probably some of that grease from when it was originally built. So we need to get all that out of there, because otherwise it could contaminate your new gear, and that would be bad. That would mean that you do all this pretty much for nothing. Wow, that actually came out a lot easier than I thought. I was thinking that was gonna be a lot more work. So that's great. Look at that. That came out really easy. Perfect. While we're at it, let's get the bottom. Remember, we're gonna replace this arm here in a second. Might actually do that next. But I need to get all that crap out of there. Don't want anything left behind. I think that's just grease, but okay, cool. You know what we're gonna do? We're gonna do this arm before we put that back in there, so that we can just clamp everything down and everything will be ready to go. Okay, so here we are. Up next, rear arm, rear suspension arm, part number 330516. They are left and right, so you do need to get that right. So, arrows, Arrma, matches up. Okay. Doesn't down. Arm principle. You can actually take out your brace off and just pull it out. Maybe. Yeah, okay. Moves in. Pretty sure that's a good action. And then this should have a little screw right there. Keep that, and then you'll need like a small Allen wrench. There's a little hole. You just kind of poke it through. Okay, excellent. That, and that, and then this drops in. Oh, wrong side. Jeez. There we go. See how that just sits in there? Then you can take your top shock tower. I don't know what that was, but oh, I see what it was. Okay. And it goes like that. And then that comes down like that. And now we can flip this back over. Okay. Easier for us. Okay. That's on there. We're going to do this one. Sorry, not a lot. Right, now, Arrma cars, that output has to match up with the other input, whatever you want to call it. And best way to do that sometimes is to, if you don't have another person to spin the wheels for you, is while you're pressing in, you can take and move the rear just like that. Hear that snap? So there we go. Good air. We need to put that in here. Can you that in place? Put our stuff in. Let's see. Oh, here's good. That's just stuff. Hang on to it.